the number of accidents have gradually increased during the last decade, India being the number one in the list. Approximately 250,000 deaths are caused due to accidents in India. To solve the problem and being a part of the solution, we have Ankit today, the founder of Cautio. Cautio is building a dashcam with AI technology to solve this problem. How would you explain Cautio to someone who isn't familiar with your business?
Got it. So, before starting that, I think I want to get into the genesis of why Cautio started. Last year, while I was at Namayatri, I got to experience, different facets of the business and different problem statements. One of them, which was personally very challenging and exciting at the same time, was to solve for safety in ride sharing. I spoke about this with Pranjal, who is my co-founder, and he got super excited with the opportunity of what we were trying to build. We spoke to 200 plus drivers, passengers, fleet operators, companies to, basically decode the critical missing piece in road safety. And while we were researching, we figured out that the existing solutions were just not cut for it. They were just not efficient. These solutions were not India-centric. They were not addressing the key issues that companies were facing. And we wanted to solve for that. We wanted to lead in this space, and we believed that there is a huge market opportunity in this space. So if I have to decode Cautio in a simple line and explain what we do, we are a full stack video telematics solution. We are designed in India, keeping the Indian consumer in mind. And when I say we are a full stack solution, the entire it's a three-layered solution. All the three layers have been designed in India. So when I say three-layered solution, we come with a bottom layer, which is an AI-powered dashcam, the ultimate source of truth. We have a middle layer, which is an operating system that supports all of these cameras and makes it super efficient. And to top it all, there is an AI blanket that works above both. That's the middle layer and the bottom layer. It helps in reducing human intervention and also automates a lot of these menial tasks that fleet operators, aggregators go through.
Okay.
Ankit, could you also expand on the solutions being India specific, or what the plugs that you wanted to go for that were not available in terms of how it is not customized to India?
Right. So we started 3 months ago, and for the last 6 months before that, we spent a lot of time talking to people. We realized there were a couple of issues that all of the fleet operators, aggregators went through. Some of them were around the fact that they. So if you look at this industry, there are two things. One is video telematics, and one is fleet management solutions. So fleet management solutions are anything like a GPS, and the video telematics solution is what we do. So the fundamental thing was India so far is heavily invested. In fact, companies in this space have been heavily invested and focused on fleet management solutions like GPS. Very, very few of them have started to look at video, but that too in large vehicle categories. So when I say large vehicle category, it could be your trucking, your logistics, your buses, etc. But let's say you're an aggregator who has attached his or her vehicle with an Uber or a Ola. The vehicle was involved in an accident. Police was also involved. And of course, there is complete hearsay on what has happened. The driver is saying something, eyewitness is saying something, the customer inside the car is saying something. But with video, the turnaround time to resolve this entire issue comes down drastically, right? If it was just a GPS as a solution inside the vehicle, the blame game will go on till the time one person doesn't give up. So this was one of the first problems, right? GPS was not able to tell you the complete picture of what has happened. The second thing is we observed that solutions that have been made available today are very reactive by nature. Now, let me explain that with an example. As a fleet aggregator in today's market, you are expected to be exclusive with a platform like a Ola, Uber, Rapido, Namayatri, etc., whatever it is, right? This also means that you have minimum targets set by these platforms that you need to hit every day. Now, you have a driver who is involved, who's taking trips for you on a day-to-day basis. For him or her, it doesn't matter whether he's taking a trip on Uber or an Ola, but for a fleet aggregator, it makes a lot of difference. Now, whatever additional the driver is earning from other platforms goes to his pocket. Now, for a fleet aggregator, of course, he has no way to figure out what has happened once the car has left his parking. Now, if there is video involved, the fleet aggregator operator will be exactly able to know whether there was a passenger inside the vehicle when there was an offline trip happening or not. So this was the second biggest problem. All solutions are very, very reactive by nature and not proactive. The third thing is cost of existing solutions was very prohibitive for Indian market. We other companies expect a fleet operator or an aggregator to buy a device which costs a minimum of 25,000 rupees a month. For a auto driver or for a cab aggregator, someone who's earning 25 to 30,000 rupees a month, an upfront payment of 25,000 is a heavy, heavy burden. So we believe that these three things were big problems that we had to solve for. And that's what we went after.
Understood. And I like how you outlined exactly the very specific nuanced challenges that are in the Indian landscape.
Right.
Being a bit on the technology side, you've mentioned, AI at the maybe third and maybe first, if I'm not mistaken, dashcam.
The top layer, yeah.
Yeah, top layer. Can you sort of, I mean, when people still talk about AI, in their mind, it's still ChatGPT, when obviously, AI has much more broader, unexplored use cases beyond ChatGPT. Could you
Absolutely.
explore how you're leveraging AI? I mean,
Right.
it is AI-powered dashcam, as you mentioned,
Right.
but how are you specifically looking at AI to, take Cautio to the next level?
Right. So we want to, make Cautio into a very simple product for someone to, easily come, plug and play and move on. And if you look at AI, what has AI done in the last couple of years? I think it has caught fame in the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years. But what it has exactly done is it has helped humans become more efficient, right? And the current AI, which is already deployed, whether it's on the dash cam or whether it's on the operating system, is doing exactly that. We are using AI to unlock information from data that we collect. It could be something from kilometers data. It could be something where we are tracking GPS pings. It could be data from anything that the dash cam has to give out, right? So this is what we're beginning with. But as and when we grow, we believe that with advancements in video and Gen AI technology, like you rightly said, AI is not only about Chat GPT. Of course, Chat GPT has been one of the building blocks of AI, but there are definitely a lot of other things that can be unlocked. One of the biggest opportunity is in the autonomous vehicle space, and we're doing some work in that. So yeah, that's the power of AI. I think AI can do much, much more than Chat GPT, and we're just getting started. We are also figuring out where all should we deploy that. But it's a long journey. It's a journey with a lot of learnings. So we are figuring it out on the way as well.
So I guess there are two ways to look at it. That it could be either, a vitamin or a painkiller. For example, as you mentioned, there's an accident that's happening and
Hmm.
you want to provide more clarity to what exactly has happened. But
Hmm.
like as you mentioned, if you interacting with these businesses to offer cautious offerings, what are the sort of data points or the metrics that you could uh, say that we can get this for you, we can tell you how this is happening, and that can tell you how successful the product offering is. So what are the sort of data points and metrics that you would be offering, the businesses that or people that you are engaging with for consumers?
Right. So we today have 13 plus customers. We have 200 plus devices that have been deployed so far. We are en route to deploy 3,000 more devices in the next couple of months. And I think what has resulted in this, hyperscale growth in the last 3 months is primarily because all our customers are extremely, extremely happy. To begin with, we have ensured that we maintain zero downtime on our platform, whether it's on the hardware side or whether it's on the operating system side. Uh, we have zero customers that we have lost so far. And how we are essentially helping all of these guys is with data, like you rightly said. If you take a closer look at our data, you'll notice that our cameras have so far monitored about 150,000 kilometers in the month of June alone. We were at 52,000 odd in the month of April. On a monthly basis, we are also now safeguarding 12,500 plus trips. So there could be a possibility that you're taking a trip in a car which has a camera from Cautio very soon. This month, we are exceeding 30,000 plus alerts, and these alerts are all AI generated alerts, which could be anything related to the driver or to the road. So, on the driver side, we monitor driver behavior. This could be speaking on the phone, not wearing a seatbelt, smoking inside the car, yawning, etc. All of that. And on the road monitoring side, we monitor driving patterns. This could be anything with, he coming bumper to bumper with someone else, he taking sharp turns, or overspeeding, right? So AI generated alerts are essentially helping fleet operators figure out if drivers are A, behaving well, and B, figuring out whether the fleet is being used to its maximum potential, because it's a mechanical, think of it as a mechanical device, right? Its job is to keep running, keep running, keep running till the time the battery doesn't die down or petrol doesn't get over. So improving efficiency is something that AI generated alerts are helping. And we believe that, all the customers that we have plus our platform will compound to become a deep moat for us eventually.
Okay.
What is good. And also just wanted to just touch upon, so there are behavioral metrics that Cautio would be looking at, right? So like, as you mentioned, if they are tired, would it also possibly gauge whether someone is inebriated or has drunk too much?
There is a possibility, definitely. We have not enabled it, but we have some work going on around that side.
I think that would be a fabulous USP if you're able to
Absolutely.
bring that to the
Yeah,
market.
absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So as you mentioned, so if someone is stressed, like would
Hmm.
there? So what is the reactive aspect of it? Would it tell the driver? Would it highlight it to the business person?
Hmm.
Or would it at some point? Sometimes there are even cases where maybe too far out now that it could even stop the car at some point. So how do you looking at the reactive aspects of show with this?
So the way we do it is it's a twofold thing. Now, with the camera detects something that has happened, it immediately throws an alert to the driver. It could be, for example, let's take the example of driver using a phone, right? Now, when that happens, there's an immediate trigger that happens within the vehicle where the driver is alerted that, there's a message that basically says, "Stop, please do not use your phone." And that same incident is converted into a report where we have some photos and a video, and it's sent to the command center. The idea of sending it to the command center is not to penalize the driver, but primarily for the fleet operator to talk to the driver, educate the driver, and get him to not do it again. So this is how we are very reactive. Before we inform the command center, we inform the driver so that the action is taken much before anything else that happens.
Okay. And how are you looking at potential false positives where, maybe a driver's looking down but not on the phone, or they're not
Right.
actually tired, they're not actually stressed. So how are you
Right.
looking at, evolving technology in such a way that it mitigates any potential false positives?
To be very honest, we do have false positive cases. They are currently in the bracket of 15 to 20%. It was at 40, 45% about 2 months back. So we've done a lot of training to our modules, machine learning in simple terms, where we have kept feeding the machine with data to help the machine understand what is an error and what is not an error. But what me and the team believe is that this is not a pressing issue, to be very honest. We believe that even if it's a false positive incident, it's okay till the time it is vetted and looked into. Because it could, I would rather have 10 false positive cases than one case that was important and not captured. So we are anyways doing a great job in consolidating 8 to 9 hours of driving into a few minutes of data to go through and process through. So with time coming in, of course, we're doubling down on our investment on the hardware side, on the operating system side. The systems are getting more matured. Maybe in 6 months, we will get it further down from 15 to 20% to about 5 to 6%. But I think it's okay for us to, have that 5, 6% as well, because it helps eliminate any edge cases that could potentially come in. We are in the business of safety, right? We want to make Indian road safe. We want passengers, we want customers to feel safe. And that will happen if we truly believe in it and not automate everything or anything that we come across.
Okay, so Ankit, what does the supply chain for a dash cam company in India look like? And what are some of the challenges you're facing and overcoming there?
Honestly, we are fundamentally very different from any other company that is doing dash cams, whether it is in the D2C space or in the B2B space. We have spent a lot of time in designing the dash cam and getting the components inside the dash cam right, which is why we are able to offer it in a very bite-sized format to the end customer. In terms of supply chain, of course, we have dependency on a few countries outside of India. We work with Taiwan, we work with China, we work with Israel to figure out who could help us with what part of the camera. And in the last 3 months, we have actually gone ahead and strengthened our relationship with all the vendors that we have today. And we will continue to do so. We also have plans of identifying local manufacturing.
We, like talk about customer is the king, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you like? Talk to me about the culture of feedback in Cautio. How are you engaging with people to understand what's working and what's not?
I think, like you rightly said, customer is the king. That's been a term that's been used for years now, but we truly believe that. I think the entire team has come in such a way where they're receptive to feedback that comes in from customers. In fact, we spend a lot of time in our customers' offices than our own offices. We built a relationship with them where it is not purely transactional by nature, but more around, us coming together to solve for it. So all the logos that we have on board today, whether it's a chauffeur, whether it's a Namaya 3, whether it's a Just Pay or anyone else that we work with, right? All of them have one common mission that they want to make Indian roads safer, and they believe that this is the right approach to do it. So we get tons of customer feedback. In fact, what we do is if it's a software related thing, we tried deploying it immediately. If it's a hardware thing, it goes back into the funnel where we do prioritization to figure out that if the next generation of cameras can have XYZ that the customer had wanted. And what is moreover very important to understand is we are able to do it because we are not a wrapper solution like any of the other companies present out there. We have complete control over the hardware and the operating system that allows us to take in feedback from customers, implement it and deploy it quickly than anyone else who could possibly do. Our customers love us. I think, in fact, some of them wanted to come back and invest in our last round as well. That's how much they love us.
Right. And the fact that you're having that direct connection and the fact that you explored that use case for them at a time, because we've seen there are obviously been dash cams around, in the US also we've probably seen those kind of videos. Ring
Absolutely.
as another whole set of videos uh, as cams. So let's also talk about the culture of innovation, as you also mentioned, the culture of feedback. So within your own company, how are you looking at people that this is the right fit for Cautio? This is the kind of innovation looking for. This is how we constantly improve, how we
Right.
augment our offerings, how do we take it to the next level? How are you examining that?
To be very honest, we don't have anything written in paper. I think we're too early for that. But what we have done is we have a very small, intimate team of 13 members. And we also have some fabulous interns who have joined us in the last couple of months. But what we did very conservatively while, onboarding everyone is we hired from network alone. B, we wanted to work with people who were deeply passionate about the problem that we were going for. Problem is India is the accident capital of the world. Solution is we need to solve for it. So people who have either gone through personal issues or have experienced discomfort in public transportation or transportation in general and want to do something for the country in large. Those are the type of people that we choose to work with. We have two very senior folks who have joined us from a company called Lookanave. We have someone who joined in from Geo. We have someone who has come in from a D2C background, someone who has come in from a hardcore retail background. All of them, we've in fact, what is very interesting is the number of people from this industry is slightly lower in our team. We have people from other industries because it gives us a fresh perspective on how we should build this. We're not following any playbooks. We know that there are companies in this space who've done phenomenally well, right? Like Samsara is a great example of how to build a video telematics business. They're a $20 billion company listed in the US. So what we are doing is we're not following any traditional path. We are doing what is right for the customer and of course what is right for the company.
Okay, understood. What are some of the things that your target audience may not know or misunderstood about Cautio? And how are you creating that knowledge bank and awareness?
Honestly, I think a lot of us think a lot of people think that we are a traditional business in the video telematics or dashcam space, but we are much more than that. Enhancing road safety is the first missing piece that we are trying to solve for. But there are a lot of other things that we are doing. We are deep tech by nature. The team is working on technology that would make roads not only safer but also super efficient. So it's not only a customer problem that we are trying to solve here. It's not only a Namayatri, chauffeur, city flow, etc. that we work with. We're trying to solve for their problem. But the large narrative is to help India become better. And that is something that not a lot of people know about.
Okay.
Yeah. Ankit, I think also I would also like to explore the aspect of, obviously there's something that's really valuable you're bringing to the market, the fact that you'd be, making the road safer, giving a fair assessment of what has actually happened in case of a mishap. But we can also examine the fact that, there are already webcams with traffic cams there out there. Not webcams, sorry, just traffic cams. But now
Right.
what happened with the addition of Cautio, you have a camera, I'm assuming it's dual cam, that one's looking
It's a
at.
dual channel camera, correct.
Yeah.
There's a cabin facing and there's a road facing.
Yeah, so dual cam. So one's looking outside, one looking inside the car.
Mm.
What do you think is, how are you looking at the aspect of privacy? Because now anyone doing anything inside the car, moving around in the car, they may have lost that aspect. Have you
Mm.
considered something about that, or has that been, the rewards outweigh the risks you're looking at? You see it that way?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, like I said, right, we are a customer first company, so
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time trying to figure out whether privacy is a concern or not. We went through laws of different states from the center as well. One thing, see, if there are two ways to put it, right? One is I'll keep regulations first because I think that's the most important piece. If you look at regulations are in our favor where they say that this is for the safety of a passenger of a driver. So of course, it's very similar to how a CCTV operates, right? And the second thing is what the regulations say is as soon as you step outside the house, everything is a public property. So in fact, even smoking inside a vehicle is, it's a punishable offense. Now, when it comes to, so this is on the regulation side. So we were clear of that. We have green signals from across states and of course on the center as well. On the other side of privacy, right, which is more to do with people's sentiments and emotions. I think what we are building is it's going to cause temporary discomfort to some people, but has a long-term value for anyone who is going to be taking a public transportation tomorrow because there's going to be solid accountability for it. Like you rightly pointed out, in the US, there is already Uber who's doing it with a with a few players. In China and Hong Kong, you have 100% penetration of dash cams in commercial vehicles. Dubai government has already started doing it. Israel, Russia already has it. UK already has it. Globally, we have seen a lot of traction in this space. India has so far not seen technology like this, or maybe has seen technology, but has not been able to do mass adoption because of some sort of an entry barrier. We have cameras installed in 100 plus vehicles today, which includes your autos, it includes cabs, it includes college transportation. We count IIT Bombay, Chandigarh University as clients as well. And we have had zero complaints from passengers per se. I mean, no one has ever come back saying that, this is invading our privacy. We did, have this thing in our head that, passengers might be receptive to it, but we have had zero cases so far. So I think India is also in a junction where India recognizes, or people of India recognize that safety is a big challenge. Our country is growing, our population is growing. We're already number one in terms of road accidents. And solutions like ours are being built just to safeguard and help people move slowly. It's nothing to do with, invading privacy, etc., all of that.
Okay. So, Ankit, you talked about like the firm and the like your operations and everything. I want to ask about you now. Like as a founder and entrepreneur, what would you say have been the biggest learnings in your journey so far?
That's a very, very interesting question. I think the last 8 months has been a roller coaster of a ride for us, especially because of all this fundraise, what we were trying to do, getting the product right, getting the operating system right, strengthening our supply chain, all of that, right? I think it came to a point where we were trying to figure out, okay, now what else is left to do? So I think my biggest learning has been patience. I think the last 8 months has taught me that everything will happen at the right time when it has to happen. In fact, whether it's getting customers or it's raising money or hiring the right team member, we used to go through this entire level of stress ki race khatam nahi hua hai, customers nahi aa rahe hain, and we have not hired a team, etc. All of that, right? This was about 6 7 months back. But when the time comes right, I think the universe stitches everything together. So I think I have learned to deal with patience. I have become calmer than who I was when I was an operator at Namayatri or Bounce. And I think every day is a great day. I think today, when I wake up in the morning, I'm much happier and more energetic about what we're trying to solve for here. So I think patience is something that I would give in. And second is keep doing it. Keep you'll keep hearing people say that, why are you doing it? Why don't you consider something else? This, that. I think if you fundamentally believe in what you're trying to do, if your team believes in what you're trying to do, and if your partner believes, as in your co-founder believes in what you're trying to do, continue doing it. You will eventually figure out whether it makes sense or not. So I think these are a couple of things that has been great learning for me over the last couple of.
Hmm. I also like to, touch upon as an entrepreneur, and you're building culture for the last close to a
Yeah,
year, I'd say, since you
yeah, for
mentioned.
sure. Yeah. Right.
Uh, as you scale and become bigger, and as you should, because you've provided this value proposition here about how you could make the road safer and help with issues mishaps
Hmm.
on the road. What do you think are those? Have you looked at what the challenges would be as you scale? Have you, charted out what you would have to deal with, how you would overcome them?
From an organization POV or from a business POV?
Both.
See, from an organization POV, I think I'm not worried at all. Like I said, we have built a great team. We have built a team that can be trusted upon. I think that's the most important part. And these guys are the ones who will set the culture for the entire organization.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that me and Pranjal, or rather Pranjal has done really good, is to get the house in order, to ensure that our finances are well taken care of. We are accountable for the money that we have raised from our stakeholders. I think that's the most important part, right? At the end of the day, I and Pranjal are accountable to all the shareholders who have come on board. So I think using money wisely is something that we have learned, and we have also ensured that the team learns, so that बाद में अगर 10 रुपए का expense है, they'll be able to get it down to 2 to 3 rupees, because they understand the real value of saving that 7 rupees or 8 rupees, right? It could basically get redirected to something else. So this is on a org level where we know that, okay, small team, frugal team, running, doing the right things for the customer. So not worried on that. Business front, of course, we have a clear roadmap for the next 3 years. We know that in the next 12 months, we're going to deploy 10,000 cameras. We have a very big order book of about 4,500 cameras, which are already locked. By year two, we want to do 20,000 plus cameras, get to at least $3.5 million in revenue. So I think on both sides, we have kind of figured it out. But what I really believe right now is uh, it's great to plan on paper and keep everything's ready, but things change. Things change very fast. I think in the last 8 months also, we've seen that happen multiple times with us. So we have the framework ready, but how to do it, when to do it, we will do it closer to the time of execution. This is what I believe, and the team believes also. So yeah, groundwork is done. I think building blocks will happen when the time is right.
Mm.
Okay. Ankit, you just mentioned about Namayatri Just Pay. So I would like to know, like, how was your experience different while starting the Cautio? You work your own company and working for another company.
I think Namayatri and Jaspay. I mean, I think you can take me by my word over here. They are one of the best companies in the country or maybe in the world to work for. the amount of learning that you have, the amount of free hand that you have, the amount of opportunities that you get over there. I think it's insane that a company of that scale is able to do it even after 12 years of operation. Usually, when you're 12, a company of 12 years old, you're receptive to things, you're receptive to giving a lot of things away to people when it comes to work. But I think Namayatri and Jaspe, they have a brilliant culture in inculcating the habit of entrepreneurship. I think the first conversation that I had with Shan, who's one of the he was the chief growth officer at Justpay. He's the chief operating officer at Namayatri now, and we were speaking more from, how do we see mobility evolve? I think that was the first question that came up in an interview, right? And it was not an interview question, it was per se a conversation that was happening. My second conversation was with Vimal, who was the CEO of JustPay, the founder. I had another conversation with Max, who's now the CEO of Namayatri. And all of these conversations, right? Like three different people, three different mindset, but the same culture, the same questions, primarily around how can we make mobility better? How will drivers benefit from what we're trying to do? How will customers feel safe? So I think from day zero, I joined Namayatri in Feb last year, and we were very small then. We were just about 2,000 odd trips we were doing on a day-to-day basis, 2 to 3,000 trips. I was one of the first external hires who had come on board, and I think they asked the right questions. They execute fast. They do not. They do not sit and monitor competition. They do not believe in hearsay. They believe in data, and it was life changing. I think I wouldn't have started Cautio if Shan wouldn't have pushed me to do it. I keep telling this to a lot of people that Shan is the reason why Cautio exists today. He's the first one who said that why don't you build this, because we believe that there is something massive that can be unlocked here. And Vimal and Mags also, kind of gave their vote in for this. With Vimal, I spent hours. We were on a train back from Chennai, and for 5 hours straight, 4 or 5 hours straight, we spoke about this. We spoke about where Kausha is supposed to be, what Kausha is supposed to do. In fact, took out a notebook and we charted out an entire roadmap. For an employee or for a team member who they did not know 8 months before and have just started to know, and allowing him to move out of his critical role at Namayatri or Jaspe and to build something of his own, that is crazy validation. I think that is how forward thinking that company is. And if I ever have to go back to a job, which I hope I never have to, it'll be Jaspe and probably nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was amazing insights from you,
Yeah.
Ankit. You shared very nice things which we didn't know about,
Right.
Dashcam. We just thought it was just like a device and something, but you shared some really nice insights. And
Thank
these were our questions for you. Thank you so much for being
Thank
a
you so
part of
much.
this.
No problem. Thank you so much for taking out
Yeah,
time, and really
for sure.
appreciate you guys doing it.